Welcome everybody to the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card reading. So today's pick a card reading, we're asking, what don't you see coming? So this could be a challenge, it could be a piece of information or an experience or some competition that sort of comes out of left field, but it could also be a wonderful opportunity, a surprise event that is really positive. It could be anything. We're really just asking Spirit to tell us what aren't you seeing coming, and how can you best use the information of knowing it's coming to get the best outcome for yourself, whether it's a challenge or whether it's something wonderful. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with just kind of trying to position with some astrology around the type of area in your life that might be impacted, the type of energies around it. Then we're going to jump straight into tarot, asking some questions about it, and then look at what supports with some oracle cards you can use to make the best out of this unforeseen, but hopefully now you've got a heads up on event or information or whatever it might be. So I'm just going to place down the numbers for the choice of piles. You're of course welcome to go to more than one. That's always the case. But what I've done to try and also help with the choice is I'm using a different tarot deck for each of the readings, for each of the piles. And I've chosen the moon card from each because I feel it's the mystery, it's the unseen, it's the things in the shadows, which could be good, bad or indifferent, but which we don't necessarily see clearly yet as a sort of an entry into the particular situation. So the first pile has the moon card from the blue Deviant tarot. The second has the moon card from the Unfolding Path tarot. And the third has the moon card from the Crystal Unity tarot. Those cards will be shuffled back into the deck and may or may not arise as part of the reading. But it may be that if you're familiar with one or more of those decks, or you like the energy of the pictures, I can tell that the purple with the background of the astrology card there, that's kind of blurring in, but this kind of looks like a purple door basically with some feline characters at the bottom, if that's not clear, if that helps in terms of the imagery around the moon. The moon is there outside the door. But as I say, it might be the imagery, it might be the tarot deck if you're familiar with it, it may be something else, it could be the number, whatever works for you. When you know what reading or readings you want to choose, the timestamps will be in the description box below and I'll see you there. Welcome pile one to your reading. So as I said in the introduction, we're going to start with just a little bit of positioning with some astrology, just to get a bit of a sense about what area in your life or energies in your life might be involved in what you don't see coming. And this looks like it's very socially oriented, I have to say. We have the 11th house, which in an astrology chart is about social networks, social media, friendship, circles, that kind of thing. It is a potentially quite lucky house, so it could be indicating something lucky, but it does depend on what energy we see with it. We also have Libra, which is an air sign. It is about social niceties. It is about what is diplomatic and gracious. It's about harmony. So I feel that for most people, this particular thing, or the area in which this is coming, as I say, is something social. So that could run from your friendship circles, what you're doing online with social media. It could also be social justice, social causes, potentially also legal, but if it's legal, it's got some sort of social sort of element, because we always have the scales or the sense of balance and justice. Best case scenario, this is looking at something that is very socially nice and bringing things into balance. If you've been in any kind of a battle in that sort of area, it might be a very good augury for something good coming through. But it could also be something you need to know about that might disturb some of the networks and connections and social positioning, I guess, of you and others in your life. So let's look at it with tarot. Let's jump straight in. So let's ask straight out from tarot, what don't you see coming? Okay. I think for a lot of you, this could be connected to something like social media with the Page of Swords coming out. It doesn't have to be, but I often equate the Page of Swords with social media. When it is reversed like that, I suspect it may be some information you're going to hear via social media or a situation you might be drawn into in social media. if it's not, it's in your social networks more generally. It has to do with communication, has to do with information that's either been suppressed to date or which is surprising in some way. It seems to stop something, at least initially for you, that you had sort of seen as being a potential growing concern. With the Ace of Pentacles reversed, it's suggesting that it has something to do with something material, an opportunity, a business, a creative exercise, something like that. And what this energy is doing is, because whatever this communication is that sort of you hear about, it sort of puts a spanner in the works of moving forward on something. It is necessary for this information to come out, however, because we've got the moon, and that suggests that there's something that has been hidden. And maybe because you haven't really connected as much, you wanted to be very independent. So it feels as though with the Nine of Pentacles here and the Hermit, we have the sort of sense of, I am my own master. I will do what I want. I will build my own business. I will build my own pathway. I am sufficient. I'm self-sufficient. I don't need lots of social networks. And yet there's something where you needed to or will need to rely on other people, or you have expected that something was going to be seen in a particular way, socially or online or something like that. And something is going to surprise you with this. It's not necessarily showing that it's ultimately going to be bad, but I think it is something that's going to let you know there was an aspect to something you didn't know. And it's possible, I would say the best case reading of this, it's possible that what it will do is make you feel one of two things: either that you have to become far more independent of social groups that you were in, that they're actually slowing you down with intrigue, or the exact opposite, that you have to stop being so independent because it's cutting you off from understanding the real machinery of what you need to achieve whatever it is you're trying to achieve. But it's certainly, what you don't see coming is some information, some communication, and it comes a bit out of left field. And as I say, it just seems to slow something down for you until you work out how much you need to be on your own compared to how much you need to be around other people. There is a lot of impact, I think, from other people around this. It is, and it's partly because this is socially oriented, but it's also because 3 of these cards out of 6 are major arcana. And when I'm reading this a couple of different ways, one is the classic way of reading the cards, but also when you see 3 major arcana out of 6, half of the cards, 50%, are major arcana. It suggests to me that the impact of external factors is very significant here. So as I say, it becomes a decision, in the end, around the Hermit and the Nine of Pentacles, in how much autonomy do you have? Is it as much as you expected? Is it more than you expected? Do you need to connect with others more? What is the thing that's going to turn this blockage around once you know what this communication is? And I think it's going to be different for different people coming here. So let's ask how you can change it, because I do feel what it's showing is that this information that comes out of left field is going to slow down a material concern for you on some level. It's not necessarily defeating it. Aces are always blessings, but with it suppressed and with the Chariot reversed, I just feel like it slows it down. It makes you have to reconsider. So let's see what Spirit is saying about how you could best change or leverage this energy, this information that you haven't seen coming. Okay, so firstly, there's someone in your social circle or your network that probably can't be trusted. We've got the 3 of Pentacles reversed, so that suggests a foundation, a collaboration is questionable, with the King of Swords reversed. So I think you're going to find out there was someone that maybe you trusted that you shouldn't have, or that you maybe kept yourself separate from very wisely and it becomes confirmed. So this is going to, again, depend very much on the situation, but you're going to hear about it. If this person has been undermining something that you did, if they've been spreading false testimony about you, if they've been trying to create a case against you in some way, or to take something that was yours, you're going to find out about it. And you're also going to find out who might have been connected to them. That gives you, with the Ace of Swords here upright, a new lease on life. This information will be very helpful. It will help you invest your time, your energy, your loyalty, whatever it is, in something that is a better growth opportunity for you. And it will help clarify for you what work you need to do. It's like what it's saying is it might be a bit of a shock to the system and it might be very disappointing, but it's liberating and it can't win, it can't prosper. Once you know, you will know how to better use your resources, how to get the growth going again. You'll have a new inspiration. So this is a very welcome piece of information, even if it's at least a little bit shocking at first, because I do feel you're going to find there's some people maybe that you thought were your friends that aren't, or people that could have been collaborators but aren't. But having said that, that's exactly what you need to be able to now focus. And so I feel this is more tilting towards you separating out from some social groups rather than that you need to be more involved. That doesn't mean you couldn't have other collaborators, but it does mean, and other friends, but it does mean that you are going to get the information to know how to best use your energy, whether it's socially or in work. I think for many of you, this is about something work or creative oriented. It is possible it could be around love and somebody is sort of being, duplicitous, but it doesn't feel like that. This feels more like friendship, networks, collaboration, social circles, that sort of thing. But it ultimately, by reinvesting your energy and being loyal to what you want to achieve, your autonomy and independence that comes out of this, it kind of bolsters that for you. So let's ask how this revelation is going to impact others, because we certainly have a sense here that there's at least one person that you will find that you can't trust, and we definitely have the sense that this does involve other people. So let's just see how the revelation that you are going to receive is going to impact on others. Okay, there's going to be a variety, and I think this is because you're going to find that some people are still your friends, still people to go forward with, and some you're moving away from. I feel this King of Swords reversed with the Queen of Swords here. I think that there may be some who try to backlash, or who say, how could you think that of me? Or try to position that you're the one who's being a renegade or whatever. But I don't feel like that has much ability. It's like it's trying to limit the fallout, because we've got the Tower reversed here. I feel like this character, once they're exposed in a way, they're trying to limit the fallout in a way. They're trying to say with the Fool reversed here that they were just doing what was pragmatic. They were just doing what they needed to do in the circumstance. So I do feel that some people will be trying to justify something out of this. This feels like it's got quite a number of people involved in it, whether it's around a workplace or, as I say, just social circles or online. It feels like someone gets exposed and they then try and justify what they're doing. But I feel like that's a bit of a fool's errand, really. They're just going round and round. The only people they're going to convince were the ones that they already had on side to start with. Others will see this as very inspiring. The fact that you've found this out, or the information has been uncovered, will bring a new sense of energy and a new sense of momentum with others. And I think this is why it's saying, if you just focus on what you need to do, you'll find other people, you'll find better social networks. It's sort of like they say that when adversity happens, that's when you find out who your true friends are. There is a sense of this, but I think it's only a very short, sharp sort of discomfort when you realize something, and then you will find your people. So I don't see this as prolonged. I just think that it's something that was very necessary, and I think it's coming out very, very soon. So let's look at some spiritual divinatory ability for you, things that might help you to concentrate on in terms of that side of things, maybe to speed this up for you to see it and for it to become clearer. Because as you don't see this coming, this is not something, it may be coming out of some sort of area in your social networks or work networks that you would least expect it, but it's probably important now to try and start to sort of separate out a bit, like the Hermit. Use your spiritual ability to try and work out, where is this, to uncover it sooner rather than later. So let's see some spiritual and divinatory gifts that might help you in dealing with what you haven't seen coming, pile 1. Life Path 5, the free spirit ruling planet Mercury. So yes, your freedom and your independence, this is definitely doubling down on that's the thing. Finding out who to disconnect from, who isn't right. So, framing it in that way so that it doesn't feel as bitter if you find it out. This is really just an excavation. You are meant to be moving forward. And with Mercury, you should be very, very strong in this field, and will be. You will bring the right people to you. But you need to sort of think about how to free yourself from those that are duplicitous. And Youth director, spiritual support, educate, lead by example, volunteer. Some of you may be involved around younger people with this, or it may be that there's something, this might be why the Page of Wands comes up, you finding this out, you making decisions, you creating, say it was a social media platform, for instance, that you're on, and you find out that something really duplicitous is going on and that people are being marginalised and cliques are occurring. You could potentially go off and set up a new one or a different sort of format or a different way for people to connect, and people get inspired and follow that. So I feel that there's sort of something about this, about bringing better social constructs in. It could also be something like with Libra in the 11th house and then that you find out about bullying at your child's school, and you actually look at how to collaborate with other parents to deal with that and to get rid of any of the kind of structure around it that's causing it, for instance. So it really depends on the situation, but it looks like you do inspire others with it, and you will therefore find your new people. Let's also see a divinatory side of things. So what kind of divination could help you? Oracle, wisdom. So this is definitely with the Hermit showing that if you really started to sort of like sit down, meditate on this, I bet you would actually be able to figure out who it was. There will be the signposts to this. Even you are probably bent over backwards to not see this because you are so fair. And you really do care about the people around you, that you're probably one of those people who, when bad behavior is going on, you try and find excuses for it, you try and understand, you try and be compassionate, but you're reaching an end to that with something, and you're not wrong. So using your own inner oracular ability, your own sense and understanding of the nuances of what goes on, you socially very, like a social savant, you will pick up what is going on very, very well. Using that's all you need to do. You have all the wisdom within. You just need to pay attention to this, looking for it, not as some sort of a witch hunt, but looking for where that tension and that issue is, so that you can free yourself from that and bring the right people in for you. Okay, so we want to get you a number of different supports along the way. So we get you a couple of divine animals that can act as totems for you in dealing with this thing that you didn't see coming. Sea turtle, stability. So yeah, this is all about bringing stability back. This is going to be one of the clues. I think sea turtle is giving you a bit of a clue about where to look. What is becoming unstable in the social fabric? What doesn't look like it's quite firm in its foundation, with the Three of Pentacles reversed. And owl, wisdom again. Yeah, you are very wise. As I say, you really do understand this stuff, and you have a lot to sort of teach and inspire others with. So rely on that wisdom. That wisdom is there for you. You will know how to do this. You will know how to find something out. If it has to be exposed, you may even make the decision it doesn't per se have to be exposed. You just need to draw other people to you so that you lead by example. Sometimes the best way to deal with a nasty clique is to create a different clique that is actually on good, sound principles and that's inclusive. Sometimes it's much more doing than sort of highlighting and discussing. So you will have the wisdom to know how to deal with this. Let's get you an archangel to watch over the process. Metatron. Well, that's pretty good. So Metatron, connection. Yes, you will be able to get sort of downloads, wisdom about who are the right people to connect with. This is sort of something which I think most of you, if you've come to the right reading, you've kind of had a niggling feeling about this for a while. But as I say, you're very kind, and you're very much about keeping the peace and good social interactions and inclusion and all of those sort of things. But Metatron, your own wisdom, all of that sort of stuff is now bringing this to the surface so that you can see where there's a little bit of something rotten in the state of Denmark, to quote the bard. Okay, let's also get you a couple of either modern goddesses or archetypes to help you as well. Pele. And the Morrigan. Wow. So this is a kind of a combination of a sense of freedom, clearing out. This Pele is almost a bit like the Tower in the tarot. So it's sort of like clearing out. She is the goddess of volcanoes, amongst other things. So there is something that is almost a little bit incendiary or transformative about this energy, though I feel that you have the wisdom and the delicacy and the social skills to make this occur so that it's not a volcano that's necessary, but just the wind almost, which is one of her other things. See how her hair flies. So there's definitely that sense. The Morrigan, I think, is working here, bringing you the wisdom, connecting also with Metatron. The Morrigan, amongst other things, is news coming to you. So you're going to hear something. She's bringing that news to you, but she's also prophecy. This is why you have the inner oracle to be able to know this. If you start to sort of contemplate the patterns that you've seen, because a lot of oracular stuff and a lot of prophecy in particular is understanding the patterns of the past so that you can see and foresee into the future. So you have a very finely tuned radar for the social, for the connected, for interactions between people, and you know those patterns. So connecting with the Morrigan, I think, for that allows you to see ahead, quite a few steps ahead. Once you start thinking about this, there's no stopping you. You'll be able to do it. And then, as I say, I think your social ease and your social skills will allow you to bring about the change in a way that is not too disruptive, but that nevertheless, kind of blows away the energy that shouldn't be there. So that's very powerful. Okay, so I want to see what you can alchemize out of this now. So we're just going to use an alchemy deck to see what sort of stage in the alchemical process you're coming to see. What you haven't seen is going to sort of give to you before we close out with some Astro Chakra cards. Okay. Wow. You're coming into your own power. First principles with the Sun. The warm sort of energy, the creative energy. I think what will come ultimately out of this is you will move out of being in a group of, and being very, very skilled within it, a group of sort of social groups, collaborative groups or whatever, to being a leader, to being an inspiring one, to actually show people the way and to bring in something that is more positive and very sort of powerful to bring the light and so forth. This is a first principles type of card. I do think you're going to create something new as a result of understanding the flawed foundations of something that is in existence at the moment in your social media, collaborative world. But this is a very, very powerful thing. It says that you are starting something new. It's literally number one. And you have the leadership qualities to bring that through. So let's just get you some Astro Chakra cards just to sort of give you some final advice. Heart chakra. Heart chakra. So you'll do this with great love and great caring. So I'm saying you have a social ability that is rare. And then the solar plexus, yes, coming into your power. So having two heart chakras is like having the two planets conjunct. And it's interesting, it's Jupiter and Saturn. This is your generosity, this is your compassion, and Saturn is your discipline and your focus. This is saying that it is a combination of both those things, that you will be able to understand and restructure what is necessary and focus on what is good, but you also have the wisdom, this keeps coming through over and over, to bring the right people along with you. And you can communicate that. It builds your self-esteem, but I think you're going to build the self-esteem of others. I think there's something going on, like as I say, bullying or cliques or something. And you're very wise, very stable, very, very sort of socially adept and heart-centered approach to this is going to not only improve your sort of communication ability, what you need to do, and this is all about communication and connection, but it's also going to help others. This is why we've got the youth director. So you are meant to find this out, even if it is a bit of a shock to the system. When you do find it, and I think through this reading, if you think about it using your own oracular ability, you'll be able to get to it quicker. It is the necessary thing. This is actually a very great blessing. But I do think at first it's going to be a bit of a shock. It might be people you didn't expect. There is going to be, I think, a mild sense of betrayal or something like that. But I think once you have let that go, the only way is up. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading, Pile 1. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear about it. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 2, to your reading. So as I said in the introduction, to start, I'm just using a couple of astrology reading cards to get a bit of a sense about the area in life that this, or the energy in life that this thing you don't see coming could be emerging in. And what this tells me is it has to do with two key things. One is how you're seen in the world, and the other is almost the material outcomes of that. So the first house is how other people see you, the impression you give, where you want to be, center stage, any of those sorts of things. Taurus is a sign that is about stability and security. It can be a bit stubborn sometimes, but it's also about the good life, enjoying the earthly pleasures and so forth. I would feel that something is coming that you don't see that could either be an issue for you to deal about how people view you and how you have your lifestyle that you need to address, or it could be a glow up. It could be something, a leveling up type situation. There could be an opportunity. You could get promoted. You could get a bonus. You could get something where you are really recognized and you're not expecting to, that really makes you feel more secure, makes you feel that the good life is closer. So it's going to depend on whether we're looking at really positive energy or potentially challenging energy, and it might differ from person to person. But let's use tarot to see whether we can get a better sense about what this actually is. Then we're going to have a look at how you can change or leverage or use that energy best, and then how other people are responding to what has occurred around you. So firstly, just a little bit more information about what this thing is that you don't see coming at the moment. Okay, this has got a little bit of both, I have to say. So it may be that it's picking up two different things for different people who are coming here, or it could be that what we're looking at here is that you actually do step up. You start moving forward. You've completed sort of something. You're moving forward in your life with the Eight of Wands here and the World. There is a sense of completing a cycle, starting to move very quickly, all of that kind of thing. So that suggests something positive around how you're seen in the world, what you want in the world. Could even be like travel in the world, that you move a lot, that you move home. There could be an opportunity that comes to you that requires you to move locations in some way. So that's positive, but it looks to me as though there is a lot of reaction to this that might be a bit jealous, because we've got the Three of Cups reversed, we've got the Page of Wands reversed, Justice reversed, and the Nine of Wands reversed. So it looks to me as though I think that what this is saying is something is coming, and you may even be aware of it already. This you may know. You may be about to be promoted. You may be about to sort of move home and sort of like start a life that you really want. You may be about to become famous in some way. You could have had some really great success, and people are now watching you and seeing you, all of which is great, and you're moving quickly. You're sort of getting seen more in the world. You're more happy in the world. But what you don't see coming is with the Three of Cups reversed here, Page of Wands reversed, you've got friends, I'd say, who are jealous. And with Justice reversed and Nine of Wands reversed, you don't see coming how much they may almost lash back at you, feel it's not fair, say that it's not fair in some way. I don't think that's true. I think with the World here that you've done the work for this. But it's almost like you get a really good opportunity, and instead of having your friends celebrating with you, and it may not be all your friends, but it's something you're surprised by, feels very unfair, feels very much like they want you to either give them credit for it when it's not theirs, or share the limelight when it isn't theirs, and you feel like you have to be really, really careful around them. So it's one of those sort of situations where I think when you have great success, that's when you sort of find out who your friends are. It's sort of like the two different things. Adversity shows you who your friends are, and also great success does as well too. So this could be a surprise to you, and it does feel a bit disappointing. It doesn't feel like it slows you down, which I think is great. I don't think that you are going to let that happen, but there's a lot, and there definitely are external factors operating here with two of the six cards being the major arcana. One you're very strong on, and one feels like a backlash with Justice reversed. But a lot of this is personal, and a lot of it is about creative energy and ego. This is why I feel like you're moving forward and others aren't moving as fast, and there's a pushback, and you don't expect that. Because I think you would be thinking, I'd like to share this, and I'd like to enjoy it, and I'd like to celebrate, but it's not really happening that way. So let's ask how you can either change this energy or manage it in a way, or even leverage it. If in finding out this, maybe you find better connections and so forth that are more at your level. So Three of Wands, Empress reversed, Three of Pentacles reversed, Six of Swords, and Four of Wands. Okay, so I think with the fact that we've got the Three of Wands and the Four of Wands sort of straddling this particular line, it's saying keep going with what you're doing. Don't let this stop you. You're on the right trajectory, and you will find people who are the right people for you, people who are either more at your level or people who are happy for you, genuinely happy for you. It could even say that amongst your current friends that's the case too. It's just going to be a few that they're a bit spiteful or whatever. There's a sense of, with the Empress reversed and the Three of Pentacles reversed, that you almost have to cut your losses on some of this. It feels like these may have been people who you felt were the foundation and would come with you to the next step, but it's turning out that their sort of like sense of growth and abundance and everything with this is now being shut off. They're feeling they're not giving that anymore. They're not nurturing anymore. In fact, one of the things I'm getting from this that it could be, with the Empress reversed and the Three of Pentacles reversed, but particularly the Empress reversed, is that for some of you, and this is a bit specific, but if it resonates, take it. It may well be that people who were on your side, seem to be your friends, and were nurturing and coaching you or mentoring, don't deal well with you when you get to their level or go higher. I've actually seen this in workplaces. I've seen people who were great friends with someone who was their immediate boss, and their boss was really supporting them, but then when they got to the same level, the boss didn't like it. So there's almost that kind of feeling with the Empress reverse. It's like part of what this is to understand that they don't like the shift in the relationship. So I feel like in some cases this might be that these people were a little bit ahead of you, and now you're either at the same level as them or you're ahead of them, and they can't deal with it because their sense of foundations are going down. But just understanding that and moving away from it with the Six of Swords, just not taking it too personally. You'll find your people with the Four of Wands. This is more about their insecurity than anything about you. But if you understand it, that's the best way to deal with it, rather than fighting it or feeling hurt. Just seeing that, you know, that concept about hurt people is that they've got their own issues, I would say. So let's see what the impact of all of this has on others. And this may pick up some more about these insecure people, or it might be the sort of new people that come in to your life. But you realising this thing that you didn't see coming around backlash, how is that going to then impact others around you? Okay, so we've got the Seven of Cups reversed, King of Wands reversed, Six of Cups, and the Seven of Pentacles reversed. Okay, it's a bit of a mixed bag. So some are going to just be watching this and go, yeah, and be quite pragmatic about it and go, you know what, that's what happens. I feel this is almost some of the people that eventually become your new colleagues. They go, yeah, this is what happens. Don't sweat it, you know. So they're not surprised. There are, with the King of Wands reverse, there are some seriously bruised egos around all of this, and I don't think there's much to repair that situation. You just have to realise they've got their own things, and for some of them, with the Six of Cups, it goes way back to childhood things, particularly with the Empress reversed. You can't fix that, and it's not your role to fix it. You will potentially find people, I think, nostalgically, people that you've been connected to before, I think respond quite well and reconnect to you. So that's a positive. But some situations with the Seven of Pentacles reversed, you'll know aren't going to be really able to continue. They've reached their expiry point, so to speak, as friendships, I think, because they can't come with you. They're not at that level. They're not going to be at that level. They resent it. But there will be those who kind of just watch it and go, yeah, that's what happens. Don't sweat it. And I think there could be some sort of past connections that come back into your life in unexpected ways, but good ways as a result of all of this. Okay, so let's see what kind of spiritual gifts could help you in navigating this. So we're first of all going to look at a couple of genetic gifts potentially, and then we're going to look at divinatory ability. Numerologist. Okay, so it could be worthwhile looking to things like numerology. You may be able to find something about your life path, and there might be something in that. Maybe your life path has things where you do come into conflict with others because you're sort of moving ahead faster than others or something. There's probably some clues in there to help you understand it, because I think that's really the only thing, to understand the psychology. You might even be able to understand the psychology of some of these people that way as well too. And Pendulum reader, scrying, rune casting. And it's definitely suggesting that you're good at using divinatory tools to understand some of this. And I think, as I say, I think that's all you really need to do, because I think other people are going to see this and come into your life in a more positive way, but you just might need to understand it so it doesn't become so hurtful. So given that your divinatory ability looks pretty strong with you, let's see what else from the Divination deck Spirit wants to point out is helpful to you. Dowsing rod, seeker. So again, scrying. I think this is saying over and over, psychological understanding and a deeper understanding about what's going on is all you really need. Because it is going to be a bit of a shock, and there is going to be some pushback, and that you are going to feel like you've got to be careful around people for a while. You will eventually settle and find the people who can really see this for what it is, but there's a transitional period. Just using your own sort of divinatory ability to find your way through that with the Nine of Wands reverse, that kind of sense of I've got to be a bit careful what I do and how I use action at first. That will help you through. Let's get you some spiritual supports. Let's firstly get you some animal totems that could help you. Wolverine, fierceness. Okay. I think Wolverine is there just to make you feel strong, because this isn't fair. I think you will kind of dial it back eventually, though, because I just think you're going to realise these people who are pushing back and being unfair, and they will be at first. They will be jealous and spiteful and all that kind of thing, but you're going to realise in the end it's their issue. But I think this makes you fierce to be able to deal with it. So I think Wolverine's there to be very protective. And Sacred Ibis, learning. And then you learn from it. You understand a little bit more. Might be a bit of a shock to your system, I think. I think that you're genuinely wanting to be successful, but you want to bring other people with you. You want to be collaborative. You're going to find that friendships were based on all being at the same level or something. There's something like that, but there's a learning that can come from it. And I sort of feel there the doors are opening for you into a more golden future. So Ibis, I think, is there just to sort of keep guiding you with that, so that you don't sort of like dim your light just to deal with the jealousy of others. Okay, let's get you an archangel. Zadkiel, benevolence. Yeah, I do think Zadkiel, I think Zadkiel's going to sort of come in a little bit later after you've gone through the fierceness and the learning. But I think there is a sort of sense you are very kind, and this is one of the reasons we tend to judge people by ourselves. And so you've judged people by yourself, and it's going to be a bit of a shock when people aren't happy for you. But, well, some people aren't, others will be. But I think you'll eventually get to that point of understanding it and you know, maybe even forgiving it to some extent, though I don't think necessarily keeping those people in your life. But I think you're the bigger person. That's what this is saying. Let's get you modern goddess or archetypes to also help. Ocean. And the witch. Okay, this is definitely saying you're a manifester, and this goes back to Taurus, and you're meant to be seen and known for that with the witch. You are more than capable with all these sort of skills and so forth to see this, to deal with it, and to move forward. Don't let anybody hold you back. I'm literally getting that some of you could be in something like a coven or something like that, and you're going to turn out to have a lot more skill, and that's going to be an issue. Like, it's a very specific thing, but with that coming up and with the Three of Cups reversed, I'm sort of getting Macbeth type sort of, you know, quotations and so forth from the witches there. So you know, that's very specific. But anyway, you are going to sort of step up. This is part of who you are. And Ocean is also similar to that. It is being able to manifest. And there's a lot of emotional caring and love associated with this. This is where the benevolence comes from. It's both your strength and your Achilles heel. In this immediate stage, when you find this out and you didn't see it coming, it's in the immediate stage of the sting of this, it's your Achilles heel, but it will ultimately also be your healing, and it will be the thing that takes you forward to find the people who are more worthy of your friendship and your love and support, pile 2. Okay, so when we find out something we didn't expect to find out, or something happens that we didn't see coming, it's normally part of our transformation and our development. So I wanted to also get for you a card from the Alchemy deck to just see in the alchemical process of your development what this instance, this thing, this process, this learning serves for your development, and where you sort of are at the moment with it. Smoke. So I think this is very much showing where you are right at the moment, because smoke is sort of like a warning signal. In the alchemist's laboratory, it's sort of like, where is the fire? Now, the fire could be wonderful. It could be passion. It could be seduction. It could be creativity. But it could also be sort of competition and anger and so forth. So this is just a call to being aware, to paying attention. You already, you know, that's sort of saying where there's smoke, there's fire. You already know a bit of this, I think. I don't think this is going to be a surprise to you. So it's sort of like almost a call to do the exploration, to work out where it's coming from and what its derivation is. So I think you're going to actually find two things. You're going to find in exploring this the people who aren't celebrating with you, but I think you're also going to find the ones who are fine about it. So you're going to find both the passion and the energy and the collaboration and the new Four of Wands energy to go forward, but you're also going to find that which needs to be sort of burnt out and left behind. There's something about leaving behind that which people can't be happy for you, basically. So to finish off, just want to get some Astro Chakra cards just to give you some final guidance in dealing with this instance of something you didn't see coming. So intuition, again, yeah, very witchy, you're very psychic, very good at, you know, divining a situation. But you're also so good-hearted that you may not have been looking to see where the fire or where the smoke is coming from. So this is just a call to do that. Intuition again. So yes, very sort of strong on that level. And yeah, there's your heart. But your heart, your emotions, this is, as I say, both with Ocean, your manifestation ability, but also your Achilles heel, and it could bring an emotional response to this. This is why it's important to kind of get into your intuition and understand it ahead of time, so that you can move past any bitterness that might come, move into kind of benevolence, and then move on. Certainly, with having two planets in your third eye, there's a telepathic understanding. So you have telepathy then. You're going to be able to really pick this up now that you know what to look for. Saturn and Mercury conjunct suggests that there is a kind of severity of the communication around. So as I say, some are just not happy with what you get. You're going to pick that up. It's going to be sort of obvious in the way they speak. You can telepathically pick it up. You'll see it in body language, all those sorts of things. But you'll be able to define it. And if you see it as expanding knowledge, you see it as learning, then you can manage the emotional response. Because it's not fair. This is not fair. But having said that, it's temporary, and I think that's the main thing to understand. And you are meant to see this now at this level so that you are equipped to deal with it further, because you're, with those sort of manifestation energies, you're going to go further than this. This is not your first step up to the good life. This is the beginning of a journey. So you're going to need to sort of like really hone this radar and see this as learning, so that you know the signs going forward. So I hope that resonates for you, Pile 2. I hope it's of help and of interest. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear about it. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 3, to your reading. So these two cards at the beginning from the Astrology Reading Cards deck are to, as I said in the introduction, give just a little bit of scene setting for the energy and area of your life that this could be impacting. This has something to do with healing, something to do with ambition, or who you want to be in the world, or your sort of dynamic energy, your decision making in some way. Chiron is an asteroid. It is about healing power, about empathy. Sometimes is called the wounded healer, so it can be where we heal and act to heal others rather than necessarily being able to heal ourselves. So there could be something you don't see coming that helps you heal in some way as well as heal others. Or it could be with Aries, your ambition brings about some sort of a wound or some sort of an issue that you need to heal, or it may even be driven by something that you're not fully seeing at the moment that needs to be healed, and it may play out in the area of your ambition, who you are in the world, your decision making, and so forth. But whatever this is that you don't see coming, I think is ultimately a good thing, but it may be something that you understand comes from your own decisions and your own actions. It's whether it's something that somebody says to you, whether it's an opportunity that doesn't happen that you need to heal from, or even one that does, but that starts to heal you and makes you start to feel self-actualized. There's something about your ambition and your decision making and what needs to be healed in you that you don't see coming at the moment, but I think will ultimately be very positive. But let's use tarot and ask a little bit more actual detail about what this thing is that you don't see coming. This is also potentially about initiating something, because Aries is the first sign in the zodiac. So it could be something that you've initiated, you've gone out on a limb on, and there is some sort of healing that will occur for you, or that you'll need to heal because of the way that people respond to it. That's a possibility as well. And that would make sense in a way, because when you really initiate something new, most of what follows you don't see coming because it's new. But anyway, let's see a little bit more about what Tarot wants to say. Okay. It's interesting because to some degree all of these, and I suppose it makes sense with the topic, there's been things about communication, things that you hear that you don't expect. And with Page of Swords reverse, that definitely suggests that to me. I also think with me, the Page of Swords often means things that you hear online or, social media or something like that. It doesn't have to be, but it often is. So some of this may play out online or just might be, sort of an email that you get copied into that the person didn't mean to copy you into, and then you find something out. It's that kind of energy. There's communication that's either been hidden for a while that comes to the surface, or that is coming through somewhat discordant social networks or whatever. It is going to be how you negotiate around team dynamics, people around you that are not happy. You may not have even known this. This could be that you're a leader. You're a leader in an organisation. Let me give you one example of how this could play out. It's not going to be the only one, but it's to give an example. You're a leader in an organisation. You're out there on the front lines. You're actually sort of like building a business, whatever it might be. And you're probably, if that's the case, you want to be a servant leader with Chiron there. You want to be someone who supports things. And you think everything is going fine, but there's something going on in the dynamics of the teams around you. There's a lot of emotional stuff. Maybe people are starting to leave and you're saying, I don't understand why people are leaving the workplace. What's happening with the turnover? There's something going on at a level that you're not hearing about. And you actually almost have to do an investigation on it. And you'll find that there's a dissonance between what you wanted the culture to be and what it actually is. But the good news is that you can actually create something much better. You can heal it. So I feel that for many of you, it's going to be something where you are in a leadership role or something like that, and you are going to find what needs to be healed in an environment, but it's going to be a surprise to you. And it is often the case that if you get very high up in an organisation, you sometimes don't really hear what's going on, but it is going to rise to the surface, even if you have to go and investigate it. Now, that's an example. If this was around a relationship, so it's passion, then you're going to find out something about how others are responding to it, what the emotional issues might be around your partner. Again, you're going to have to look into it and be a bit tactical about it, but then maybe an unconventional approach is going to actually open up the love and heal the situation. You might also have to negotiate around your own lack of conventionality. So you might be all about the new and the forward and the action rather than the sort of structures of things. So again, this could be something if you had a partner who wanted to get married, for instance, and you've never really been about that, you may have to actually negotiate around that or take a different view to heal the situation if that's what's going to bring the person forward. But there's definitely something where there's a discord operating that's under the surface, and it's quite emotional, it's quite well advanced, and you need to investigate it or you need to negotiate around it. And an unconventional approach seems to be the way that it heals, but it is suggesting that you can heal this situation. So let's ask how best to do this. How best can you use the information and the understanding of the experience, the thing you don't see coming when it sort of comes to the surface? Five of Cups, Three of Pentacles, Star, Five of Pentacles reversed, King of Cups reversed. Oh, that's interesting. King of Cups reversed to me always speaks of Chiron. So while that is sometimes a negative when it's reversed, I feel with this it's not. It's actually pointing to your own internal capacity to heal others. That's important. Though it is important when it's picking up the King of Cups reversed, there is a sort of sense of the wounded healer that you don't heal everybody else but wound yourself in the process. So it is important to also heal yourself, I think. That would be saying. You can bring hope to whatever this situation is. You are the person who could negotiate the outcome. You are the person who could bring the heart back to things. You're very ambitious and very driven, and maybe people didn't realise that they could come to you, and this, whether it's in work or friendships or whatever. But the reality is, underneath, you are, as I say, if you're a leader, you're a servant leader. You're not a despot. And so you are the person to bring the inspiration back. And that's the thing, to kind of recalibrate whatever the situation is to the North Star. If it is around a relationship where you're kind of like, get on with it, have the passion, but you're not sort of thinking about the conventionality and you now need to go negotiate something, it's to get back to the North Star of what brought the passion in the first place. You need to bring people together, whether it's you and another person or whether it's an organisation or whatever it is. Five of Pentacles reverse suggests that material things have come to a bit of a halt and people are feeling isolated and in their different camps. But you can do this with the Three of Pentacles, step by step, softly, softly. You just need to get past, you need to get this blockage about emotional unhappiness done. So again, if you were a leader and you find out that there are all these cultural issues going on in your workplace, what this would be pointing to is finding the way to reconnect people to the inspiration of what they do, starting to set new principles in place that connect people rather than keeping them in their isolated groups. And you may need to show your own vulnerability to do it. You may need to sort of like become more visible and more connected to people to do it. So let's ask how people are going to respond to you once you are aware of this thing you didn't see coming. High Priestess, Seven of Wands, Two of Wands reversed, Queen of Swords. Okay, I think for a start, they're going to see you as a really good match of sort of intuition and heart and also mind. Like, you are a natural leader, whatever this is. As I say, even if it's in a personal relationship, you're able to kind of, people will respond to how you articulate it, because it won't just be of the mind, but it will be very clear. It will also be sort of intuitive and feel spiritually grounded. You bring people courage, and you help them make decisions about what they want to do. So I feel that most people will respond very well to this. Now, it is sometimes possible with Queen of Swords that some may be critical, but I don't really feel this so much here. I feel like you're uncovering a problem and solving it, so others will appreciate that you've done it. And you will then, as I say, encourage, enliven and embolden others and so forth. So again, that very servant leader sort of feeling. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up servant leadership. If you are a leader, look it up, because that's who you are. And it's probably the best leadership style that you could possibly have. So I think basically people are going to respond well to this. But you're going to have to take the action, and you're going to have to do whatever is necessary to heal it. So let's look at some supports for you. Let's first of all look at what sort of spiritual supports, because you are going to be seen as very intuitive, very spiritual in the way you do this. What spiritual skills or supports could you have? Instagram platform. Okay, for some of you, you may be right out there in the world and promoting something. So your way of dealing with this, you may in fact do this for multiple groups and multiple organisations by understanding the dynamics that occur here and what the strategies are to come out of it, and you inspire others. You may be a mentor and coach to other leaders. You know, this may be how you use your healing ability and your leadership ability. But otherwise, I would take anything with the Instagram platform, there's Facebook, there's others in this deck, as being visible, like speaking what you do. As I say, you need to come out and maybe even tell your story a bit. That then helps other people realise that if the leader or the inspiring person there is human as well, that it's possible to move through this. And we have Ascension Path 2, water, flood of mental emotion. Yeah, it's your heart. You show your heart, basically. You're very strong, and maybe, you know, people didn't even really know the heart was there, but the heart's going to come through, but it's going to come through clearly with the Queen of Swords as well too. But this is about you reconnecting people to their heart and yourself to your heart as part of it. But it's like, it's what you didn't see coming is that this mess was brewing in whatever it was, and you reconnecting to your heart and speaking your truth is a big part of this. Let's see from the divination of the ancients what divinatory ability could help you in identifying this as soon as possible and dealing with it, since the whole topic of this is something you didn't see coming. Coins, abundance. So you might literally be one of those people who could toss a coin, you know, and would be actually be able to sort of like work out some simple yes/no answers. There's even divinatory coins that you can get that have yes and no. So something like that might work for you. Otherwise, I think it's just pointing to the fact that a lot of this is around career organisations, how to share and build in abundance, how to give people a sense of stability and so forth. All right, let's get you some support. So let's start firstly with some divine animals, some animal spirit guides that could help you. We have chameleon, change. Yeah, you do need to be a change agent in this. And you are going to need to, in a sense, present your story in ways that are compelling and so forth. So I think chameleon will just help you do that and help you bring about the change that is necessary. We also have sea otter, transformation. Yeah, change agent. Healing change agent. You may not have even known this about yourself. You might have been so ambitious and you're just moving forward and you thought, yeah, this fantastic team, or this fantastic business, and then you're going to find out there's this thing, and it's really going to be the making of you because you are a servant leader, because you really have that ability, and it's not common. So this is why it's going to be a really wonderful thing, even though it might seem a bit tumultuous at first. This is really showing you how much you can change and transform. Let's get you an archangel. Zadkiel, enlightenment. Yeah, Jupiter, your benevolence. Again, the servant leader. Seriously, if you don't know what that is, look it up. Even if this isn't about work to you, I think it probably will be with many, but even if it isn't, it's going to tell you something about who you are and who you could be in your career. Very, very clear. And this is meant to sort of show you something about yourself. Okay, let's get you a couple of modern goddess or archetype energies as well to support you. The crone, Amaterasu. So the crone will be bringing you wisdom, the wisdom to do this and so forth, and to be able to understand and transform things and to see the cycles of life and what is necessary there. You will have a natural gravitas, actually. You're probably quite charismatic as well with Aries, but you will definitely have gravitas. And honestly, when you're talking about dealing with this sort of issue, gravitas is the most important thing you can have. When you speak, people will listen. They will see the heft behind it. They will believe you. Amaterasu brings light and brings radiance. If any of this is pushing back against a culture that was holding back some of your ambition or what you wanted to achieve, you're going to be able to heal it and change it. Amaterasu was able to come out of the cave and shine her light. And it's interesting here, she's carrying some mirrors. I think you'll be able to mirror back on people what the behaviours are and what needs to shift so they can heal, so that or they can opt out if they're not going to be in with a more sort of balanced and a better sort of like pattern. So there's a great deal of light and power associated with this, and it's going to show you who you are. This whole thing is going to show you who you are, because I think you've underestimated yourself, pile 3. Okay, so to finish off, firstly, I want to get you a card from the Alchemy deck, because this whole thing is transformative for you big time. But I thought this whole topic was going to be that it would highlight some form of transformation, because we always transform when something happens that we don't expect. So I just want to see the energy around the alchemy of your personal transformation coming out of this particular scenario, pile 3. And we have the yellowing. So this shows that something is coming to its end, and I think it is whatever this issue was. Once this has come to the surface, once you have started to see this thing that you didn't see coming, it ends a cycle, so a new cycle can begin. That's why it's very much transformative change. So the yellowing talks about the fact that, you know, when we have a bruise, that the last stages of it before it clears is yellow. So this is about clearing energy, though sometimes an ending can be more regretful. I think in this case, it is more like the bruise that is yellowing. It is like the healing, like the final stage of the healing. So once this has occurred, or you've understood it and you start to move with this, the transformation you bring is profoundly healing. And I think you will bring it to that phase. You will bring it to that point, and in a way that is positive. I think if you weren't there in this situation, it's likely to have soured, to be frank. It needs someone like you. So to finish off, let's just give you some guidance from the Astro Chakra cards, just to sort of help in this healing work that you are going to now need to do that you probably didn't see coming, but which, as I say, is going to show you something about yourself you didn't even realize. So heart chakra, that doesn't surprise me. You do come from the heart. Throat chakra, how you communicate is powerful, that gravitas. And then the sacral chakra, what you create at the end of the transformation. We actually see, I think, a pattern, a sort of a sequence here. You start with the heart, with the wisdom, the generosity of your spirit. When you understand this is going on, you don't come at it like a bull at a gate. You come at it to heal it. So that is part of your wisdom. That is part of your generosity. That means that you can communicate with that mental emotion, with the water there, really beautifully, really powerfully. You can voice the feelings that you have, but in a way that is very healing, that actually allows others to voice their feelings, I think, which then creates, the moon again, something that is much more true and is transformed, something that is more instinctive. The moon emotions here is starting to understand how you take this energy and create with it, how this is part of who you are and how it creates you. So you start with a loving heart to deal with the situation, you communicate sensitively, and out of that you understand how powerful your own emotional and healing power is. If any of you want to be a healer, that's the other side of this. There is something that's around groups, people, emotional patterns that you are going to find you can profoundly heal, and you can have almost a change process. So that's the other side of it. Just at the end, there could be creating even a business in this in some way, a process, because you really do have what it takes. But I think for many of you, as I say, it's more about finding your leadership and your inspirational power. And through a bit of a shock to the system when you realise that there is a problem that you didn't know was there, but you are the person to fix it, I have to say, pile 3. So I wish you well with it, though I think that you will be fine. I hope that you enjoy the reading. I hope that it resonates for you. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share, I'd be really fascinated to hear about this in the comments. But beyond that, I hope to see you in future readings.